Got a question for Maurice. Your proposed constitutional amendments that you're talking about, are you offering those only to prevent the legislators from doing something, or is it something you would pursue anyhow because it's a good idea?
I think that's right. And term limits is the, if you will, the client in this case with the resources. So ultimately, it's their call. But I think our position is that U.S. term limits did not intend to be active in Ohio absent this threat. And Phil can correct me if I'm wrong, but no action was being looked at before this rise to repeal the current term limits were in place. So it's only with that issue that we've come to understand that, and come to understand that maybe there were a few unforeseeable ways that these current limits have been circumvented that could be tightened up. So if we have to fight this fight, thank you, Ed Fitzgerald, because voter turnout was so low in 2014 that the constitutional amendment requirement is not only 300,000 signatures, which is affordable for a national organization. And so if we have to fight this fight, that it's just as easy for us to offer a very popular amendment, whether it be legislators feather bedding, as it was put, or it be constricting the term limits.
And if you start the process, do you finish the process or do you stop it if the legislature should drop their proposal?
I like to finish whatever I start, so I'm hoping that, and I think term limits, one of the things I like about them as a client is they have the means and the resources and the tenacity that I think that will finish where they start.
I could clarify a little bit U.S. term limits role too. We try to monitor threats to existing term limits around the country and let folks, activists and citizens on the ground where they occur know so that they can get involved. U.S. term limits doesn't run campaigns like this. I think some of these gentlemen here will be involved in what happens next, particularly Ray Warrick, who's actually starting a rail organization, has filed papers today to do so. Remind me of the name of the organization?
Aide is enough Ohio?
Aide is enough Ohio. There's going to be a campaign in Ohio. Now, naturally, U.S. term limits has an interest in this. We support term limits around the country. It will be helpful to the extent we can. We're going to run the show. And if ideas come up like this, we'll be as helpful as we can. But we won't be running the show.
I understand the argument about 8 years versus no term limits. Can you explain a little more about what would be the detriment to just adding to those 4 years? I mean, I get the incrementalism,
yeah. But
if we just added those 4 years, why would that be?
Okay, first of all, it's a little bit the wrong question, but I will answer it. First off, the list of benefits that come from term limits come from keeping the 10 years short. The only argument for making them longer is that the people they're imposed on want them to be longer. It's certainly the burden of the argument is on them for changing it. It certainly works well right now. And I think that if you look around the country, 8 is the norm for term limits at all levels of government. And it has proven itself to be a working number. It's not a science, it's an art. And we found it through trial and error. There's been longer term limits out there where you really don't even notice that they exist. And there's been short term limits that have been made longer in other places, such as places that had 4-year term limits that went to 6. I've seen that before. And so 8 years really through trial and error, through time testing, we know has a good balance between the experience needed for the job and to promote the competitive elections and regular turnover and better representation of people that we're looking for. Yeah, the idea of going from 8 to 12 only benefits incumbent legislators who want to stay in town longer and special interests that have invested in relationships with those legislators, and that is it. There's not a policy argument that I've ever heard that holds water to make 8, for some reason why 8 would be better than 12.